You want me to take that? Break it down.
Peace to the YouTube family. What's good? We live again while I'm eating dinner. Just got off work. We got one person in the building. So jump in that comment section. We got some shit to talk about. Eating this good ass chicken sandwich my wife made. Good as a motherfucker. Mm. Excuse me, people. I'm getting into the sandwich. Who's in the building? Make your presence known. You in the building. So, before we start this video, I'm sure anyone who's been on my lives noticed I changed my name to Kahuna Valley TV for YouTube. A lot easier to remember, a lot easier to type in, and it got a little ring to it. So, we have some things we want to discuss, but I want to tell you guys to go to my Patreon. I'm going to be making a new Patreon. It's going to be labeled Kahuna Valley TV, so I don't want anybody to say you ain't know about it. So, part of this discussion is going to be a response to a video that Young Pharaoh put out there. Violating Kanye West. Because I'm sure a lot of you know that Kanye has got back on that Jesus kick. He went from Jesus to Illuminati to now Jesus again. But I'm going to let you guys know it's all linked. He's never changed his stance or his beliefs. From day one, the minute he signed to Jay-Z, he was into occult bullshit. Now, I'm gonna take this real slow to give people time to come in the building and start viewing this. 1 minute though. Hold up now. So I also gotta take it slow so y'all can absorb as much information as possible, because YouTube has been taking my lives down. Not just taking my lives down, but not giving out notifications. Also demonetized me. Also preventing me from even going live sometimes. That's why I haven't been on for the last couple of days, because I would try to do a live from my phone and it didn't work. So good, baby. Thank you. So now, Kanye said Jesus is king recently, right? So whoever's in the building, hit me with a comment. Say what up to the other people. Say what up to anyone viewing. Your comments will be seen later. So what up to everybody in the building? We got 2 people in the building. Yo, I am Mowgli. What's cracking? So now, anybody who's just now getting in the building, I was informing you guys that we changed the YouTube name to Kahuna Valley TV because it's easier to remember and pronounce and whatever and search up. And because my new Patreon, in order for us to make money, because YouTube demonetized me, in order for us to now make money on this platform, I have to use Patreon or Super Chat. But for now, we're going to push the Patreon. So I'm going to be making a new Patreon called Kahuna Valley TV, spelled exactly the same way, I think, as it's spelled on YouTube. That way it's easy for you guys to go there, drop some money, for more content, and everything like that, and for me to get more information, because information ain't free nowadays. I'm ready for my next one, my love. So now, this video in part is going to be a partial response plus me adding on to a video that I watched of Young Pharaoh going ham on Kanye, because anybody who's up on current events knows that Kanye recently dropped a new album, and if I'm not mistaken, it's called Jesus is King. And he also did like this little church, impromptu church thing. And Kanye, when he first came out, anybody who knows, he was talking a lot about Jesus and everything like that. Then once he got signed to Jay-Z officially, to Roc Nation, my wife hooked up these good ass chicken sandwiches. Damn, yours got a little bit of different flavor. Do you want to try mine? Oh, nice Italian flavor. So, I seasoned that one strong. Oh God. So now, once he signed to Jay-Z officially, you start seeing him throwing up a lot of occultic symbols, which many of the symbols that we now recognize as occultic or evil or demon or pagan weren't originally, until white supremacy became really prevalent, until whites came into power and they corrupted it. This is not hate speech. YouTube, do not take this video down. For example, the 6-point star, right? That is the symbol for David, right? But it's also a symbol for masculinity, the masculine, right? Each point on the top represents the two arms, the ones on the bottom, the points on the bottom of the legs, the one at the very bottom, the one at the very, very bottom is the penis, and the top is the head. Now, the 5-point star represents the feminine energy, the 2 legs, 2 arms, head, and vagina, because there's no extra part. So that's what the 5-point star represents, and that's what the 6-point star represents. But they now associate it with religion, which they've corrupted our spirituality, which in Islam, you have the 5-point star, and what we call now Judaism, you have the 6-point star. In reality, that's not what it's for, because Judaism, to be a Jew, is a tribal right. It's not a religion. Now, in response to Young Pharaoh said that Jesus did not exist. He also said that Jesus is Lucifer, right? That we worship Lucifer. Now, I have a little bit of an issue with that. And also, I do agree in some way. Here's why I agree. When you worship this white Jesus, you are worshiping Lucifer. You're worshiping who we call the devil, and both figuratively and literally, in the sense that black people who are woke or conscious now call white people the devil because of descriptions in the Bible. Now, spiritually wise, we know at some point, based on right, but I. Mowgli said the name Jesus is Satan's first name. He has many names. That's number one. Number two, we knew from the teachings in the Bible, if you read it, that at a certain time there would be a person calling themselves Jesus, which would be the Antichrist. They would be posing as Jesus, which we are getting the representation, because we know from the description of this text that Christ, Jesus, or Yeshua, or Yahushua, however you want to pronounce it, was black. So that false Messiah figure, that false Christ that not we, but people worship, Christians worship, would be Lucifer. So he's not wrong on that point. But to now say the whole thing is Lucifer, black, white, or whatever, I can't agree with that, bro, because we as a people, right? Black people, minority, Latino, whatever you want to, let's just say black people, because black people are the first on earth. So anyone follows behind that, which is Latino, Native American, all that, that's all black people. The Hebrews, the Israelites, the Jews. This is our history. This is our spirituality. So he's saying God is Lucifer. Lucifer is God. Iron Mowgli said there are also multiple devils. Baal, Beelzebub, Satan, Lucifer, they're all different deities. Right. But his argument, which is an argument I thought about a long time ago before I came into the divine knowledge, that why the fuck do we worship God when God kept us in ignorance? And not Lucifer. Maybe Lucifer is the one true God that we should worship, because we were told to eat from the tree of life, which gave us the knowledge of good and evil. But God was protecting us. And now we know these things, right? Another thing is, we're living in the time and in the era of Lucifer's reign, in a sense. So evil runs the world right now. And so how do we know we're not being tricked into be thinking into this thought process of Lucifer giving us this knowledge and protecting us from God when God protected us? Because under God, we didn't know right from wrong, therefore we could not be judged, right? But let's jump into the reality and get out of metaphysical. Let's jump into reality and get out of the metaphysical. He said Christianity is wrong. It is. We did not create Christianity. Okay? Right. To know these things are destruction, to come into light, to wake up in itself would, in a sense, become a sin, because when God prevented us from knowing these things and we had no right and wrong, we had no common sense in a sense, we were saved from being judged and damned, right? And being cast away from the governing body as the creator. But I'm back into reality though, and out of this. Christianity came way later and was influenced by Rome. Catholicism is evil. But we have to understand something. Young Pharaoh made a point saying we don't see any Black Christ figures or whatever, or adult Christ prior to, I can't remember what time period he said. But the thing is, what's important and what needs to be understood is that the Catholic Church still worships a Black Madonna and baby Jesus. But he says that the baby Jesus was based off of Cupid, which came from Rome. Okay, that's understandable, right? But the fact still remains that we had a faith separate from Rome, separate from Cupid, separate from Venus, separate from all these Roman beliefs that inspired them to turn our deities, our Messiah, and represent them by their deities. So by renaming their deities, our Messiah's name and our deities' names, we're now, and then preventing us from worshiping our own with our own culture, we now start to fall into their culture, which is in the Bible. It's happened. The Hebrews and Israelites kept following and copying other paganistic beliefs because they were falling out of favor with God, the Most High. So the Most High kept damning them over and over and over, repeatedly, and cursing them, right? So now, what I'm saying is there's science in that book, astrology in that book. There's all of these things in this book. Is how you read it. Now, do I agree that Kanye West saying Jesus is king is devil worship or Luciferian worship? Hell fucking yeah, I agree. Why do I agree? Because it's the context he's using. There's a video that surfaced of Kanye kneeling before white Jesus. Did you know that? There's a video that surfaced of Kanye kneeling before white Jesus. Now, when he kneeled before this white Jesus, there's two things you could take from that. A, that he's kneeling before Lucifer. B, he's kneeling before a white figure, a white power figure, a white deity figure. Now, another thing. When they say that we worship Lucifer, first of all, or Jesus, the Bible never told us to worship Jesus at all. That's Christianity. Which, the word Christian means Cretan, which means someone who's ignorant, stupid, dumb, or a fool. So now, to call a Hebrew or a Jew a Christian is an insult. So foolish Christians take the name Christ and believe that Christian is a derivative of the name Christ. No. The title Christian came first before the word Christ. They just use that word to fool you dumb motherfuckers who don't look into linguistics. Now, if you are already Jews and you already believe in spirituality, you already have this knowledge, right? Why the fuck would it be, and why would you need to now change your name to be a Christian? Why would you not need to label yourself a Christian because Christ came? Not needed. Now, if you read the book, all the things that are coming to pass, the book tells you. Who's coming into power, what countries are ruling what countries have what. They just have different names because they had different names during that time. But they've evolved and changed their names over time because new kingdoms merged with this one and blah, 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 right? What's important is he also says he chalks up the Bible and what's in that book, he accredits it to white supremacist people creating that. White people, slave masters, right? And using that book to enslave us. Now, here's where he was wrong. First of all, if that was the case, and solely the case, why did they feel the need to, in the book, portray Christ as black? Not only portray Christ as black, right? Not only portray Christ as black, but to then go ahead and give a different visual of Christ, meaning turn him white. If you put him in the written description as black, and then now show us a white man, why is it not important of his color? Because a lot of Christians will say, oh, his color doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Because now it shows you multiple things. It shows you, A, that the Antichrist is white, he's going to be white, or other than black, anything other than black. B, that this book was not given to us by them. It was stolen from us and then regurgitated back to us, corrupted by them. Now, what else is important? If it was white people who inspired the Bible, wrote it for Masonic reasons and for controlling reasons, excuse me, why would you now hide the fact that he was black? Not just hide the fact that Christ was black, but then tell us, prevent us from reading that book for so many years until you devised a way to make us read it, to make other slaves subservient, more subservient. Now, here's a little issue that I'm kind of dealing with when it comes to that. Had we read that book from the very beginning, we would not have been so subservient. That's number one. Number two, because, before I get to number two, the reason why is because the book depicts us in a higher place in society. It places us in a powerful position in society and shows we are chosen by our Creator, not just people. That's number one. Number two, it inspired a revolution that helped attempt to free many slaves, Nat Turner's revolution. And because he used the Bible, that which inspired him to have a revolution, he was made an example of, and his body was cut into pieces and scattered. Apparently, that's the story. His flesh was scattered. This is the evil and the atrocities that these people put onto us. We have to stop ignoring the facts that these people and putting up to a cult. First of all, it doesn't matter if it's a cultic. It doesn't matter. That shit doesn't matter. That the reason why they do these things to us is a cultic. That does not fucking matter. What the problem is that there's no unity amongst the minorities. If there was more unity, at least even in small cells, meaning small groups. For example, if all the black people in America had unity, that's one part of this society that would crumble and prevent the next events that they're trying to build toward this new world order from happening. At least for a little while, it was stalled. So now we have to set that example. We have to show the other group of minorities or people who are financially underneath the elite, or who are trying to be controlled, who are being controlled by elite or crushed by the elite, that they're not going to go for the bullshit. The elite did not give us the Bible to control us. They use it against us because people don't fucking read it. If people read the shit and understood what it said, then they could use it themselves as a weapon to protect themselves, in a sense, from the powers that be. Because the Bible never tells you to all be peaceful and walk in peace and then just take whatever they do to you. It tells you an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It tells you the course of action that will be taken, that needs to be taken, in order to put yourself in a position of power. First of all, yes, Jesus is Lucifer, not Yeshua or Yahweh Shai, which are supposed to be the same person, but they're not. Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, is the black representation of the Messiah, the reality version, and then the white Jesus is the fictional. Okay, that is the Antichrist, that in a sense. So now, black people have this thing with trying to connect themselves to to whoever enslaves them. It's like Stockholm syndrome. We have this problem, like, for example, we associate ourselves with Islam, but Islam at some point enslaved us, the Moors, right? We have a problem with connecting ourselves to Christianity. Christianity enslaved us, not the book, not the Bible. We cannot associate a document, right? A information, a historic information with our captors and say that that document destroyed us. No, the people destroyed us. The people enslaved us, not the book. The people holding the book did, because the people knew the power of that book. They prevented us from reading it, and then now turned it so that we believe that the people in that book are a representation of them. No, those people in that book are representations of us, manifestations of us. We created that book. We created what's in that damn book. That's like saying, for example, 10 years from now, we have a white rapper, right? And he comes out with his version of Brenda's Got a Baby or Dear Mama or one of those Tupac songs, right? And they play it on the radio, play it on the radio, play it on the radio. Us, the older generation who was around and listening to Tupac and all those songs, know a black man made that song. A black man, did it, right? Now, if the law states that we can't tell the kids that a black man wrote that song, over time and with fear of execution, over time, we're going to associate that song with a white man making it, right? Because now they're going to think a white man was one of the greatest rappers who ever lived. But we know Tupac made the song. You understand what I'm saying? So now we know that Christ was black. We know this. His name was not Christ. Christ was a later iteration of Yahweh Shai or Yeshua, the black man we now call Christ. The white man we now call Christ, his image was Caesar Borgia, right? Or Borgia, or whatever, how you say his name. It's so difficult. So now, that part of him was, that illustration of him was meant to control us and destroy us as a people, not the original man, right? His message was for us. That book was for us, but it was corrupted later on to control us. So now we cannot hate the document because it was corrupted. We have to find the corruption and get rid of it. For example, white Jesus. He was not white. Why would it? The contradictions are right there, but the book itself never contradicted itself. You know what I'm saying? So now, he said that Masonic lodges hold, in their lodges, they usually have 3 documents, 3 books. They have the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible. Now, my question is not the Roman Catholic Church part of these Masonic movements, the Illuminati and all these things? Yes. Was Rome not a part of these secret societies in a sense? Yes, they were the forefathers. Now, because we're still living in Rome now. We're still living in Babylon. We're still living in Rome. We're still under these satanic, occultic, paganistic societies right now. We're still under that. But now, we got 3 people in the building. Right now, you have to understand something. They have those 3 books because these people know the truth. They withheld the truth from us from so long. The minority, the impoverished, the descendants from slaves. They held the truth from us. They know the truth. That's why they have the books. They know the power of these books. They know the power of the truth, knowing the truth on who is who. That's why they have those books there. And it's like, for example, also, the winners of war are going to write history. So they wrote their history and excluded us from it, right? The only known book I Am Mowgli said, I've been said America is Babylon and the Statue of Liberty is Isis, the whore of Babylon. Okay. So, to make a long story short, in my response to Young Pharaoh, I think Young Pharaoh is speaking from a Kemetic belief standpoint or an Egyptologist standpoint. And so he's not willing as much to accept the fact that there's a possibility, not just a possibility, not just a probability, but there's a fact that we were the Hebrews, we were the Israelites that book talks about, that we were these people. Not only were we these people, we were also the Egyptians, right? We were also a lot of people that were listed in history that are now depicted in this time, the 21st century, the 20th century, were listed as white, shown depicted as white. Like I said, this is not hate speech, so YouTube don't flag me for this, or people on YouTube, whoever sees it, don't flag me, don't dislike it, because like I said, if you do dislike this, if you do dislike this video, it's because you're a bigot, and it's just the facts. Now, why I'm bringing this information forward into the table is because I think it's important for minorities to know where they come from and know that we come from a place of royalty and something greater, to have pride in ourselves, and maybe that'll stop ourselves from seeing the other group of people as the superior, and stop destroying each other and have more unity and love for each other, and see the mistakes that we made assimilating with these other people in such a sense that we copy their habits and pull their habits into our culture. For example, but before I get into that, somebody made a point on YouTube, I can't remember who it was. They questioned, how the hell would we believe in God when basically when Noah got on his ark and God flooded the earth, basically if everyone started out as black, God erased life on earth except for Noah's family, and then which is why the Masons believe, repopulated the earth with Arabs, right? So, which is why we look at the Arab land as the Holy Land. Now, there's something that you need to know. First of all, Noah repopulating Earth, Noah was black. That's number one. Number two, his family was black. Henceforth, Shem, Ham, and Japheth were black. Ham being the progenitor of the majority of the black races. Shem being the progenitor of the Hebrews, Israelites, and the Arabs. So Hebrew Israelites meaning black people. The original Arabs were black. The original Muslims were black. And then Japheth being the other. Okay? So now, knowing that, and because where he landed was on Arab land, first of all, the Middle East is a false term. The Middle East does not exist. There's no such thing as the Middle East. Okay, they call it that to separate black influence from that part of the world. To separate one minute, baby. Could you pass me the ashtray and the clip up there? Cause I'm on live and I don't want to stand up. All right, so it's up by the TV, if you don't mind. All right, so thank you, baby. So that's you see my wife in the background. She cut her hair because we're going more natural, and you know, she's showing her black beauty. Okay, because she's a black queen. You feel me? None of that white shit over here, bro. No hate toward white people. There's no hate speech, but we need to start loving our own kind. And the ashtray with the clip and everything. That's up behind the TV on that side. So now, what was I saying? Where was I at? I Am Mowgli. What was I saying? Where was I at? Because you've been watching and paying attention. What was I talking about?
Oh, take that.
Hmm? Okay, my love. Oh, that's what I was saying. Talking about where people corrupted the books. Oh, okay. Thank you. See, this is why I have people like I Am Mowgli as moderator. He pays attention to what I'm talking about because he's an intelligent motherfucker. He's an intelligent brother. So now, okay, so the corruption of the books. So some people say that we got these books from Egypt, this belief system. Now, young Pharaoh being, and this is the last thing I think I'm going to say revolving young Pharaoh, because I do agree with him on some points, and I really don't disagree with him. I just want to correct some things to bring an open-mindedness to it. But young Pharaoh said that these books and all this stuff came from white people and white supremacy and all other shit, right? That's what I got from what he said. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. I'm not trying to put any words in nobody's mouth. But there are other people who believe in the Kemetic sciences that say we got the Bible, the Christ, the Madonna and all of that from Egypt, right? Which one is true? Because if we got it from Egypt, that means we still got it from black people. That's number one, which we didn't get it from them. If anyone knows how cultures work together, when cultures join together and after they interact with each other over a long span of time, they start to influence each other and share ideas. Now, Egypt believed in many gods. We did not. We did not believe Christ was a god. That's number one. Number two, we didn't believe Mary was a god at all. What we believed, and he also called God a pedophile. Now, that pedophilic shit and the homosexual shit, because he said Jesus was a homosexual, that wasn't a part of our culture whatsoever. You cannot find any artifacts pertaining to black people in Israel or Africa that I know of that shows homosexuality, one, or pedophilia. No one can. And if they do, it's forged because it's not in our culture. That wasn't introduced until white people got introduced. So now, because it was prevalent in Rome, he said that God was a pedophile because he got, and that Joseph was a pedophile because he said Mary was 15 when she had Christ. Now here's some problems with that. He said that Joseph, Christ's human father, the man who raised him, married her when she was 15 and he was 99. Okay. Number one, I don't know how true that shit was as far as Joseph, but I do know that it would be literally impossible for an omnipotent being, a being without shape, form, or age, or time, because that being created time, which means they have to exist outside of time, to be a pedophile or a homosexual. I'm not talking about Christ right now because he was a man and he was not with that shit. Okay? Caesar Borgia was a homo. Okay? A being without time, that lives outside the span of time, does not age. Okay, I Am Mowgli. Caesar Borgia was the homosexual that the belief fed to the masses to make it impossible to discern between positive and negative X Example, age is a number, pushes the pedophilic nature and negates. Okay, that sounded really intelligent. But now, our creator, the one who created time, created age, created these things, it is impossible for a being without shape or form, age, that lives outside the reality of time. Right. So anybody in the comment section, read what I Am Mowgli and go subscribe to him because he got some funny videos. I Am Mowgli is saying, he's saying some smart shit. And I think in a sense he agrees with me. Or being outside our perception as mortals cannot be, a homo or a pedo. Okay, it's impossible. First of all, the creator created us for one. Number two, whatever creation the creator decides to create amongst us is the same as him birthing one. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the same as, first of all, technically he would have created Mary because he created her parents, because he created their parents and their parents and their parents. And he created life, right? Or this deity created life. So if without sex created Christ, which we know he would have to have been conceived, but it was his will that conceived Christ, right? All that is creation. That's all it is. Breathing life into another vessel, right? That's all. That's all it is. Where the pedo shit comes in, and I think he's kind of just, that came in when white people became an influence on the spirituality, on our history, on our sciences, all these things. Then they took all of our information, we compiled it into this book, and they corrupted it by adding their deities as the front man of ours, because we did not give image to these deities. So what they did, or when we did, it was in written text that they were not reading all the way, and because they were partially illiterate, we made them literate, and you're technically, when you go into any country where you don't speak the language, you're illiterate. There is no irrefutable proof that God didn't have sex to conceive Christ. I understand that part, but what I'm saying is, whether it didn't matter what age she was, because he was without form and beyond the span of time. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Now, not just that, but we also have to understand that this is a different time period. So certain shit that was is unacceptable now was not unacceptable then. Not just that, but we have no proof of her age nor Joseph's age. People were getting married as children, and they were also in where your parents choose who you marry a lot of times too in certain cultures. So we don't know if that was the case, if they were chosen for each other, which case promised amongst each other. So for example, his parents promised their son, her parents promised their daughter, and then they had children at different times. People were living a very long age. So her parents could have waited to her in the hundreds to even conceive her. And whatever the case, and his parents could have been younger when they conceived him. We don't know. We don't know those facts. So I don't want to even argue that point. I just want to know I just wanted to let it be known that the pedo shit came once the Romans we can't have been made in an image without form. When I say without form, I mean beyond our physical state. We were made. It's not a contradiction. It's there's different ways to look at it, right? When I mean without form, that this being is beyond our reality, the scope of our reality in a sense, partially. Because this being was great enough, because that's the best word I could use to make it easy to understand, great enough a being to give life to other beings on such a scale to not just create life as in like a woman gives birth and a man has sex with a woman to create that seed which she will now produce. beyond that, at the scope of creating the material to create life, not just the material, but to create life itself. You know what I'm saying? Just the concept of life, to be able to create the concept of life and the meaning of life, and to create what it is to have life and what it is to be life. Just to create that far, like, you know, life is here, and then to create what's here is a whole, you know what I'm saying? That takes a lot of power. That takes a position that you're beyond what we conceive as moral and immoral. God is beyond morality and immorality. That's number one. Number two, like I said, we don't have any irrefutable proof of her age. I'm not, I remember correctly, it does mention her age, but what I'm saying is these thoughts and these things did not come, the homosexuality shit did not come into Rome, became a part of our culture and assimilated into our culture and pretty much ravaged our culture and destroyed our culture morally and among other things, mentally, financially, whatever. Rome has still had a powerful impact on how our societies are ran. Rome is still the great beast that's in power right now. I am Oakley says, because there's a statement that comes, because in our lifetimes we haven't been provided with physical evidence people choose to discredit. Example, aliens, extraterrestrials, God, unicorns, fairies, terraspan, cryptids, etc. I could go on. Once again, a deity, or what we call a deity, or like I said, a being that could create what we perceive as life to the purest form, right? Not of what a woman does to create life, but beyond that, would be beyond our primitive concept on sexuality and the things that fall underneath that. Because God creating both sides of what would make life, the masculine and the feminine, God just creating those two major parts of life is beyond sexuality. You understand what I'm saying? Because God would have to be both the feminine and the masculine at the same time, in a sense, for different reasons and different parts of its consciousness, or our consciousness, because God created that consciousness. So but back on to where I was saying, this little quick history lesson. Anyone who is in the know with any type of education knows, beyond what they teach you in school, that Rome ran rapid with homosexuality. They depict it even in the movies, but they do it in such a way that we don't look at it as straight up gay. Like, we're not like, what the fuck are these two men doing? Because they make it seem like they're friends and this, that, and the third. Like, for example, in the movie 300, did you not see how close those dudes were to each other on some homo shit? Even Xerxes was on some like real just, he was on some sus shit. Your proof is in your dreams. We don't need comprehension when we are understanding and the overstanding. The image are projected constantly throughout the lifetime. We choose to ignore the impossible and unbelievable. Exactly. So now, this lifestyle of homosexuality, which is unhealthy to our people, because it warns us against it in our own documentation. Now, why would the elite, right, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, whoever, the satanic system, give us the laws, right, of life and nature and what is good in the eyes of the Creator? This book describes these things, right? It's one of the greatest wrongdoings you could do is to commit homosexuality. One of the greatest crimes against humanity is to commit homosexuality, which is against nature, because there's not many creatures that aren't kind of fucked up who willingly commit homosexuality without something being wrong in the environment. but human beings do. But black people through slavery was traumatized into committing these acts. So it was made normal to us forcibly, but not Rome. It ran rampant in their communities, in their societies, this homosexuality. It's unnaturalness, because it's unnatural scientifically to be white. It's a chemical imbalance. Your melanin is not produced right. Like I said, a lot of things that benefit black people, we're more connected to the universe. This is not hate speech. These are facts. Go research these things. Homosexuality ran rapid in their communities and even in their militaries. And a lot of their higher ups in their society were homos. No disrespect. That's as politically correct as I can be with that title. Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Rome itself, because Sparta, Greece, all of these societies, once they were white, they started doing the gay shit. You know what I'm saying? Look at the movies and look closely and watch their relationships. Watch how they're depicted. And they love to see homo shit, and they keep trying to put black people in these dresses and shit. Look at Dave Chappelle while he left and went to Africa. They try to stick his ass in a dress. Martin Lawrence, they stuck him in a dress, and ever since he's been fucking crazy. He's been going off the fucking wall. He's been bugging the fuck out, doing crazy shit. Right? Look at dude, the young nigga, I can't remember his name, the nigga from Lottery Ticket. Right? They put him in his dress in Big Mama's house, the new one and shit. And what happened to him? What happened to him? That nigga disappeared, did the whole extreme, went straight up Hebrew Israelite and shit in a way, and literally said, fuck the entire entertainment industry. Martin Lawrence at one point said it. Dave Chappelle said it. Eddie Murphy, they put his ass in dress, and what happened to that nigga? All his movies started flopping after, because he been trying to, I guess, do his own thing. His brother dies. The nigga fucking Eddie Murphy was found with a fucking tranny. All type of crazy shit. So now they fuck your head up, and different things, different switches hit off in their brain for them to cope with what the fuck happened to them. Right? Because of these occultic motherfuckers. Now, like I said, we're still under Rome. They admitted to two of their gods being homosexual, Cupid and Hermes, I think. I know the second one starts with an H. Was it Hephaestus? Or I don't know. Cupid did promote homosexuality, because when he shot the arrow into your butt for you to fall in love, there's also a thing that makes you super subservient. That slave masters used. They would sodomize the strongest of the slaves, the black slaves, and make them subservient to them. So there's science behind their shit too, for their betterment. So like their Greek gods and goddesses and Roman gods and goddesses, when they have their belief system, it's scientific, but so it's their messages from their side, right? And we have ours. Theirs, what they worship and do, benefits them. What we worship and do benefits us. It gives us power, because that's the laws for our living. What they believe in is the laws for their living. They're good with the homo shit. We're not. We fuck up. We mentally become fucked up. So now I'm trying to remember. There's some shit. Cupid is with this second one. The arrow is symbolic of his penis. The shaft, all the details are specific. Exactly. And not just that, but he also promotes pedo shit too, because they put a baby to be a sex symbol. It's fucking weird. It's connected. So now they're pretty open with what they say. They are, but they do it in such a way that they are desensitizing us so that we're okay with the shit more. And it's like they push this agenda on our kids. They force you. You know what's funny? A lot of shit that's normally illegal, like bestiality, is illegal. You can't fuck a animal if you wanted to, right? But you could fuck You could fuck the same sex or a tranny, and it's all good. And there's no hate to them. That's y'all lifestyle. Keep that shit over there. But if you felt like, and Young Pharaoh brought up a point like this in another video, but if you felt like, he said a tiger, if you felt like a tiger, could you not go fuck a tiger and it be okay? No, it's a crime. You go to prison. If you felt like you were a tiger, that's a mockery, just like Pizzagate or gravy something. Yeah, when they say it's all gravy, that like alludes to homosexuality. Search it up if you dare. It'll make you go off the grid. I literally was watching a lot of this shit. A lot of shit you talking about, the Pizzagate shit, all of that shit. Like, for example, CPS, the organization CPS, Child Protective Services. There ain't nothing protective about them. They're one of the leading groups for child sex trafficking. One of the biggest groups that contribute to that. Right? And most of the kids that disappear are black. Most of them. Motherfuckers eating kids, fucking, and organ trafficking, yeah. Black people, be in your kids' lives. Don't let these motherfuckers take your kids from you. Handle your business, fit into their society as best you can, but behind those closed doors, be educating your kids, man. When the motherfuckers come to your door to see your house, make sure your shit is to their standard. But then when they leave, get your shit right to teaching your kids certain things. But let them know when they're in society, in front of people, in certain places, they're gonna have to shut up and just don't partake in their homosexual activities. Don't do it. Well, the numbers say that black kids are the ones that's disappearing, and we see every day that the black ones are getting murdered and lost and disappearing every single day. And they know that these kids go missing. Why would Jewish kids be the target? Why would they be the target? But why is that a reason? Why are their kids disappearing? When they're the motherfuckers performing the rituals, sucking their own babies' dicks when they born, weird shit like that, trying to get power. Come on, man. You want to pin a target on yourself. They've been kidnapping and taking our people for the longest time. Understand that, man. So now, I know the truth. You're looking. So now, black people were introduced to this type of lifestyle, and it's been fucking us up ever since. Your household fucked up. You can't even get no respect out your woman because of the shit that's going on. The society is teaching the women that they can be the masculine and men can be the feminine. Those energies don't work that way. You going against nature now. You pushing yourself to do something you're unable to do by design. A man can never be the feminine. A female can never be the masculine. These equals rights movements. Oh, the equal rights movements with women and men. Women, first you got the feminist movements that are coming along saying we want equal rights to men. We can do what a man can do, right? Then now you have the LGBT community coming. We can do what we want to do. These shits are connected, and the LGBTQ shit was planned a long time ago, man, to make the homosexuality legal and accepted worldwide. This is literally Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah coming all over again. Repeating the same fucked up ass history. They're literally creating Sodom and Gomorrah. They're literally spitting in God, the creator's face, and saying, fuck nature, we could do what we want to do. You know what proves that the shit is unnatural? Because people, listen, man, I don't hate these people. That's y'all lifestyle. They ain't got shit to do with me. You keep that shit over there. I keep my shit over here, right? You know what shows you, though, that homosexuality, transgenderism, all that shit, the LGBTQ belief shit, like I said, it's not hate speech, but I'm just telling you something because you choose to be offended by it. I'm not choosing to offend you. I'm speaking my point of view. If you If you or anybody that views this video has an opposing side to this, put it in the comment section. We could debate these things. We can talk about this. But I'm going to state a fact. And it might hurt a lot of y'all feelings. And it might fuck a lot of y'all up. I'm not judging. I'm telling you that this is against God. That shit, that LGBTQ shit and anything under that damn umbrella is against God. It's against nature. You know how you know? The best thing, that the argument I could throw out there is more to it. It's about complete and utter control. Everything will become illegal. Either you accept it or can be pushed off. It's literally in the news. You know why that shit's legal? Oh, before I get into that, you know why? What proves that's against nature? It doesn't spawn life. All of nature in some way, shape, or form spawns life. Everything in nature spawns life. Everything that goes with nature spawns life. The animals, they reproduce life. Right? Plants reproduce life. Insects reproduce life. Even microorganisms reproduce life. Your cells reproduce life. Human beings reproduce life. Everything that is natural and that is of will of God and comes of the will of God, the Creator, produces life, produces creation. Does homosexuality, though? It's unnatural. It is the opposite of what God intended for creation because it does not create. It does not produce life. In fact, and this is going to fuck y'all up, it creates a division in your mind from one hemisphere to the other and confuses you. It creates an imbalance because now I guarantee you interview a bunch of real homosexuals who are really real with their shit and they're really open and they're willing to keep it real and true. They'll tell you they've at some point questioned their sexuality and thought, is this wrong? Or is there, maybe I should fuck with that other shit. They're making their move. You don't see it because they set it up that way. Everyone is going about their normal lives. There are back-to-back championship fights between all combat sports. I don't know what that means. Explain that. Clarify, because I really don't know what the fuck that means, bro. What you're trying to say. I don't know if you're talking about them going to watch these football games and shit. But, and it's not me beefing with them or really trying to be a distraction, because it's a lot of distractions. We need to open our eyes and see. Look, when shit's the fan, we some of the first on the guillotine. All right? And we need to stop this world from going in the direction it's going. Because unless you do something about it, you ain't going to survive. We need to do better. Stop falling for the stupid ass distractions. And as far as these distractions go, we need to use those distractions just as much as they use them as a weapon. We need to use it as a weapon to wake our people up. Use it as examples to show. Now, you know how being a transgender is against nature? Can you reproduce life? You have the parts of you necessary to be that other gender. What is that lie? Red and blue corner, Crips and Bloods. Nipsey, back 100, situation started. of controversy, right? Rise of the MAGA cult. And with that comes all the news on Trump's. Okay, so now I see what you're saying. But now, like I said, a lot of what we see is distractions to keep us away from what we need to do. We need to find unity, create our own financial stability. Because while we're in these vessels, we need to protect the next generation. We feel pain in these vessels. We die. Right? We need to protect the future generations. The babies, the children. Like reality of it is, man. If it goes against nature, God, and what's moral, what your soul tells you ain't right, don't fuck with it. If your soul, your inside tells you something in you tells you this ain't okay, don't do it. And it shouldn't even take that much. Just use nature as an example. Not like Nature Boy's weirdo ass feeding his daughter his own semen. You fucking nasty bitch. Fuck nigga. Fucking hoe ass fuck boy. Now, I'm being mad fat right now. But if it goes against what we know is against what the natural order of things, we shouldn't be fucking with it. Also, why does this agenda have to be pushed on us? The homosexual agenda has to be pushed on us because they know it's against nature. It's in our cartoons. It's in our movies. It's in every fucking thing. In our food. Recent charges. Now America is sneaking little jabs at other countries through the sports we call out the UK, Mexico, which segregated themselves from U.S., but also have given our troops to. Right. This was spoken about in the Bible. This is World War III. This is the start of the end of days, man. It's the beginning because that war is going to signify the beginning of the end of days, that final war to set in the next kingdom, the kingdom of Lucifer, before God comes and takes over, before things are set back to the right order of things, before things are set into peace and harmony and is supposed to be the way God intended. So it's setting in motion. So we could prevent these wars. I mean, we really can't because these nations agreed to have these wars long before we, these treaties and all this UN shit, these meetings, they're not really, they're subliminally planning wars and agreeing to the terms of these wars. All right? Like Germany is not allowed to have a military anymore. Nigga, you don't think they planned that whole fucking shit to go down the way it did? Allied forces, so if that's the case, and they're sending rich elites to Mars, search up Elon Musk and his efforts to warn Mars for their utopia. It's real. There is nobody coming. God is already here. It's all the same paragraph. Okay. They could go to Mars if they want. I think they're really trying to do is to avoid the ensuing war that's going to happen after their World War III. Because there is going to be a war where those in bondage are going to now become those in power, and they're going to be enslaved. We're going to switch positions when things are back set to the natural order of things. That's what they're trying to avoid, and that's why they're trying to get rid of us now. To wait out the nuclear waste. But who would survive that radiation? Whose body can do it? By people's from that type of solar, like if it's solar radiation that's produced, the type of radiation that's similar to solar radiation. If you have melanin, you're more likely to survive. But not just that, but I don't think it's going to be a nuclear war that's fought. I don't think they're that stupid. I really think that I think they're really trying to avoid when nature resets, because everything has to go back into equilibrium. Okay, I understand that. But what I'm saying right now is that a lot of everything is on purpose. There's distractions. But what I'm saying right now is that they're trying to avoid Earth trying to create its natural balance again, trying to get its equilibrium back. Because things are going to reset itself, the universe, the cosmos, everything is going to, life itself is going to go back into its natural state. It's going to reverse back to the natural equilibrium. It's going to fix the problem that's going on with it. Okay, little baby. It's all right. So, for example, everything's going to revert back to its natural order. You have this pacifier? For example, those that were enslaved are going to go back to their natural position of power. We are supposed to be on top, right? Now, let's use an example of nature doing this. When floods happen, when earthquakes happen, we say that's a result of global warming, or would we say that's nature trying to fix itself? When plants overgrow and overtake societies, when natural disasters happen and overtake society, that's Earth cleansing itself of an impurity. It's trying to revert back to the natural order of things, to the way it's supposed to be. So now when humans now become a part of that part of when that part of nature, this us being cells on this big governing body, now we catch up to the rest of the body trying to cure itself and put itself back to its natural equilibrium the way it's supposed to be. So now this war that they're going to have is going to weaken them enough for us to now take our position of power and do what we need to do to get back in our natural position in society, which is on top. Us in rulership. That's what's going to happen. So that's what we need to do. We need to put ourselves, though, in a more enlightened and prepared. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm gonna hop off this live. The baby's up. I've been on live long enough. We're gonna continue this discussion with part 2. So tune in. The part 2 will be around the same time. Tomorrow maybe. Not this time. God is tired of giving chances. He is choosing who will be with him in the end. What will make up his celestial consciousness? How can you expect forgiveness when you take it in vain? Okay. So now, forgiveness. First of all, if what okay, so now we have to understand certain things that were taught to us. Now we were taught repentance, right? We were taught repentance, and what we should understand is repentance is not just saying, "Oh, admitting to God, oh, I did wrong, I did wrong, I did wrong." It's also to fix those things you did wrong. So, for example, if your whole life you spent selling drugs that kill people to your own people, like crack, heroin, all that stuff to your people, you need to repent, which means you need to reverse what you did wrong. You need to create a balance, right? To be content for harming the body, the governing body that is the conscience, that is our creator, right? Because once again, we are created in the image of our creator, which means we are cells in this one governing body. We're in one gigantic governing body, right? Because our cells are created in the image of us, right? So we are cells in this governing body of God. So now you destroy cells, you make them mutated or unclean, right? You damaged. You know what I'm saying? You did wrong. You sinned, right? You transgressed against the creator, your body, your governing body. To fix that, you have to heal another part of that governing body. So you need to speak out. You need to do talks. You need to give information. You need to just do right, and you need to reverse what you did wrong. You need to go fix it. You need to go help some people get off of drugs. You need to do whatever you need to do to fix a part of this governing body so you can make it right with this governing body and be accepted as a functioning cell, right? If you have a cell that keeps creating problems unfunctioning, but you have a cell that's fixing problems, then now that cell is a functioning natural cell. It's a working cell. You've lost true repentance. Our penitentiaries have become prisons. The root word of penitentiary is penitent, or the penitent, a loose translation of the bodying word repent. Okay. We have to understand that we have to make right what we make wrong. We have to create balance. So what goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. We have to put balance back into the world that where we create imbalances. So, for example, when you cheat on your wife or you do something wrong in the relationship that creates chaos. So now we have to create peace. We have to go and fix that problem. You understand what I'm saying? Now, like I said, you rob from somebody. Somebody's either karma or nature is gonna fix it, or you're gonna fix it. You go and give money. Okay, there has to be balance. We have to create this balance. So now, for example, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time when we as a people, nature takes over, and we as a people creates the conditions, or nature creates the conditions for us to create that balance. For example, it's inevitable. For example, because, and we've had this time and time again, we have had proof of this time and time again, whether we call it God creating this balance, or we call it nature, or we call it humanity, or whatever we call it, there's going to be balance. It's a part of life. Okay. So now, for example, in the Bible, it says those who were slaves. It doesn't say in the exact words, but it says those who were slaves will now be in power, and those in power will now be the slaves. Whoever is whoso put into captivity will now go into captivity, right? What makes us the judge or God of another to say whether they were right or wrong? That contradicts predestination. If the person's victim was predestined to die by their own person's hand, who's to say they are wrong? God. And the reason why is because things are predestined and pre-written, but like, for example, death is predestined. We're all promised death, right? But how we die, we choose. So we have very limited, because we are all parts of God scattered, we have limited free will. Okay, so nothing. God gave them. What they're saying they're wrong. God is wrong. No, God gave you limited. Listen to what I'm saying before you say that. God gave us limited free will. Your story is written before your birth, but it's up to you to decide what path. See, now God creates. When God created your story, yes, God wrote our stories. God pre-wrote our destiny. God pre-created our journey, but our journey has many different paths we could travel down. You understand what I'm saying? The perfect story does not see, all of our stories are perfect whether we sin or not, but understand this. What makes it a perfect story is that there's many different paths you could travel down. Now, if you read a book with a linear story, then everything can be predicted all at once without other chance scenarios, well, without other scenarios being possible, without other possibilities existing. But our lives are created and our stories are created in such a manner that there are other possibilities within those existences. So, for example, if I decide to become a robber, right? God pre-wrote that I would decide at some point in my life to be a robber. But now I could also choose to, because like I said, our creator would exist outside of existence in order to create existence. So understand this. And to create reality, you have to exist outside of reality as well. So now, but I can choose with my limited free will one of the other choices that God has set forth for me. Right? For example, limited free will does not contradict predestination, because here's why. With predetermination on a level of a creator of life and reality itself, you would think that they would also give you other choices to choose from on a pre-written path. Just for example, it's pre-written that I would become a bank robber. It is also pre-written that I would choose against it. I could use free will within the boundaries of the different choices that God puts in front of me. For example, you always have the choice to do or not to do, or to be or not to be. You have those two choices. It's always those two choices, yes or no. Yin and yang, good and bad. You have those two choices. That is where limited free will falls into place. It's not a contradiction. For example, I could choose to eat my food, or I can choose to not eat my food. Those are the two predetermined choices that I get, yes or no. Every choice you make in life always falls back to yes or no, this or that. Two choices. Always. There's always two choices. I can choose to choose one of these four choices, but I'm also choosing not to choose, any of the other ones. So there's yes or no. I chose this one or not this one. Period. There's always one or two. Good and evil. Right? Yes and no. That's called balance. There has to be a negative with a positive, masculine and a feminine. We were also written to not question the writer, but we are taught to do just that. If you read what I wrote, then you would choose to read it and understand it. If you decide to see what I wrote, you chose to. Exactly. So you get the choice, yes or no, but that's it. But it's also pre-written, it's predetermined. You understand what I'm saying? It's predetermined that you would choose either yes or no, but you get to choose yes or no. You understand what I'm saying? It's predetermined that you would have to choose one of those parts. It's pre-written that you would choose one of those parts, but you decide which part you choose. Then the next part of your story comes. So for example, I'm walking in the woods. There's two roads. I choose the left road. Now, when I get to the next spot, it's a dead end, right? But that's the next part that God predetermined, that it would be a dead end. Okay? God wrote that at this point in the road, there are two roads. But now with the limited free will, I get to choose which one of those roads I would take. But now on the next part of that journey, God wrote that there would be a dead end. And it was pre-written and predetermination and predestination within my life. There are limited parts of predestination, but there are also limited parts because God created all that is all and everything that will be, everything that has been and everything that will be, everything that is now. God created all of that. Okay, like I said, God, the creator, would have, in order to create this reality or create time, create space, God would have to exist outside of that reality. So now, and also within it. Okay. But see now, so then when, okay, so now when, okay, so with that logic, you're saying you don't get to choose anything because that's what you're saying. So when you go into the store, you can choose to get that drink or not to get that drink. You think about it first. Damn, I'm thirsty. Okay, but I don't want to spend this $1 on this drink when I could go get a drink over here for 50 cents. Or I think I want to save this $1 for something else. And you think about it. You're choosing. Now, okay, and that given opportunity has a part to do with limited free will. Limited free will. With full free will would mean is to be omnipotent and to be like unto God to the extent that we would create life on the scale that God would be able to. Limited free will prevents us from doing something like that, and we could create life in such a small scope. But we're gonna get back to this discussion tomorrow. We had some great dialogues. I urge everyone who's going to watch this video, because I seem to get a lot of views after the lives are finished in post, to come to my next live, which might be tomorrow. I'm going to, if it's not going to be tomorrow for sure, I'll do like a really, really, really short live to let you guys know that it'll be coming at a later date, or I'll put it in the comment section. So pay attention to the comment section, or just tune in tomorrow to see if it shows up. If I don't, it'll probably be the next day if I don't jump on here. So we're gonna make another live and we're gonna discuss some other shit. I also got a few other topics I want to bring up. So just hop in the next live, keep supporting, go to my Patreon, subscribe, share this page, like this video so that the notifications can get out there. I'm demonetized, so people, if you can, create a petition to get me monetized again, because whatever. And I'm just encouraging you guys to think. What I'm saying? With every video I drop, it should encourage you guys to think a little bit more and to see, what might be on the other side of that road and what else, we're not exploring in this experience that we call life. So I want you guys to live your best life and not the way that they tell you in the mass media, where they're telling you live your best life and get drunk and sip Henny and neglect your kids. I'm telling you guys to live your best life for the future generations, and I want you guys to really just create a future, whether it be spiritually, financially, physically, whatever you can do for your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is. I want you guys to step to the occasion, and I want you guys to really just show your value as a people. I really want my Black people to wake up. I want my Latinos to wake up. I want my Native Americans to wake up. I want my minorities to step to the occasion, put your tails from under you, and really, be responsible for your communities and take care of each other and support each other and show love and be a cohesive unit, whether it be the man next door to you creates music, support his music whether you like it or not. promote it, put it out there. Somebody gotta like it within the community. Whether he cooks food, let people know. YouTube videos, let people know. Come on, we gotta show more unity and show that we care more about each other than what they made us do. So share this video, like this video, go to my Patreon. You can find out more about my Patreon on my older videos. I mentioned it a few times. Also, there's going to be new content being put up there. There hasn't been any as of yet because I've been busy trying to build this YouTube up. My new Patreon that I'm making, it would be Kahuna Valley TV. But I will announce that when it drops, and I want you guys to go support. Drop some donations. Keep viewing the videos. Like I said, share, like, subscribe. Whatever you got to do to show support and help this channel grow. Let's get to it. And like I said, follow me and I'll follow you back in return. So this has been a good live with you guys. I appreciate those of you who comment. I appreciate you guys viewing and whoever watches it, whether it be right now while the live is going on or after the live has been posted. I'll be dropping more content, different kinds of content soon. So just keep subscribing. I'm gonna keep surprising you with this real dope shit. That real shit that real motherfuckers want to hear. All right. So peace. Much love. And I wish nothing but happiness. And yeah, so with love, I'm out of here. It's over.